What up? Welcome back. If you are new to the channel and want to see more and more content, don't forget to like, share, and more importantly, subscribe by hitting the link below. I'm Kevin J. Mack, Exit 160 Entertainment, and we are back on the grind. And for today's episode, we are going to sketch, ink, and color a character using Clip Studio Paint. Stay tuned. It is officially Friday, easily my favorite day of the week, but it's not because it's almost Miller time, it's because I look forward to sharing videos for your viewing pleasure. So, today I'm excited to introduce a very important character from the upcoming comic book entitled War Pigs. But first, let me ask you this. What would the world of comics be without superheroines such as Jean Grey, Storm, Invisible Woman, Captain Marvel, Wonder Woman, Vixen, and the list goes on and on. The boys will be in a world of hurt because many of these characters bring a lot to the table and in many cases are directly responsible for saving the day. So, for today, we are going to sketch, ink, and color the First Lady of the War Pigs, and her name is Melody Fox. Let's get it. Starting with a new project, make sure that you give it a name. For the canvas size, I like to work big, so I'm going to keep my canvas at 11 by 17 with a resolution of 600 dpi. Keep in mind the higher the resolution, the more taxing it's going to be on your machine. As long as you're at least 300 dpi, you should be just fine. All right, so getting into the sketch, we're getting Melanie Fox sketched out here. We're going to start with a simple gesture to get the feel of what our character is going to look like on the page. Remember, when you are doing the initial sketch, you want to stay as loose as possible. Your line should be drawn very lightly at this point as we continue to build upon on the figure. Again, for the pencil that I'm using is the real pencil. Like I stated before, you know, you don't have to download any of these special pens and pencils whenever you're doing your drawings in Clip Studio. I find that the default tools that they have work just as well. With slight tweaks here and there, you should be fine. So as you see, we're just trying to stay as loose as possible. Still developing the form of the image. I just want to make sure that we get the right proportions in terms of her stance, making sure that she has all of her props, her twin pistols. Thelma and Louise is what I would call it. But just want to make sure that we get those forms sketched out. So we're gonna start getting some of the facial features drawn out. This is going to be very important to make sure that everything is laid out proportionally correct. This can sometimes really throw your drawing off when the eyes aren't drawn correctly, or the eyes aren't leveled, things of that nature. But the great thing about working on the digital side of the house is anytime that you make those mistakes, you can always just go back and use the good old eraser tool or the free transform tool to make sure that your proportions are aligned correctly. Now, I know some of you all may look at this hero and say, well, she's kind of muscular for a woman. Typically, you don't have your superheroes as brawny as she is, unless you're going for that She-Hulk look. But Melanin Fox is definitely one of the powerhouses uh, on the team, second to the Soldier. But she can very well hold her own. Very powerful character, but I wanted to make sure that she had that strong look, that bodybuilder look, but yet a certain elegance to her. So getting in this the second pistol right here, just blocking it in, just making sure that the form is there. Um, so we're getting kind of close. I'm almost feeling confident enough that we can start to move on from the graphic side of the house and going into my layer color uh, portion of the sketch. So I just want to make sure that the sketch is good. Just you want to make sure that you flip flop your sketch consistently throughout the process to make sure that it looks right. Yeah, just some minor changes to the face. Still a little off. Let me fix her nose. But definitely, you can see the difference when you flip the image to the other side. It makes things puts things in better perspective in terms of what it should look like. All right, so I'm gonna make my color layer. This is what I like to do when I get the sketch down. I like to go over top of it with a blue layer color because it makes the image pop that much more. Um, Definitely not something that you have to do. If you want to go right into your inks at this point, you probably could just go right into your inks. But this is just something that I like to do to kind of get me set up, get me ready to start applying some ink to the image. I would typically do this with blue or red ink. Just further defining my lines. I just want to make sure that they're cleaned up and I can see the image a little bit better. Definitely in my older age, I don't see as good as I used to see. But again, just do whatever works for you. But I'm just gonna go back and outline the image one last time before I start applying some ink to the hero. This is the first time that I've attempted to talk while I'm drawing at the same time. It's a lot more difficult than you would think. So just bear with me. I'm used to multitasking, but just not in this way. And if you guys are enjoying the video, make sure that you uh, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing to the channel and actually watching the channel is like the lifeblood of any YouTuber. So I would greatly appreciate that if you can hit that subscribe button below. Okay, so we're getting a little bit closer, just putting in a little bit more detail in the image. actually starting to take shape. Image is actually starting to look pretty good. Don't want to go into a lot of detail, but just making sure that we have those important lines already drawn out. It's going to make things move along a lot faster as we get as we go into the inking process and doing our final renders in color. So all right, so I'm about to put the finishing touches on a few things, and I think we can go ahead and get ready to start applying some ink to this drawing. I'm gonna lower the opacity a bit, and I think I'm gonna use just use the regular G pen. The default pens and brushes that come with Clip Studio are pretty good. You don't have to go out and purchase this pen and brush packet. I think you will be just fine with the tools that comes with the software. Again, you can make just small tweaks here and there, but you're gonna get some pretty good results with the brushes and pens and pencil tools that you have in the program. So a little bit about Melanin Fox. Her power set is somewhat similar to Marvel Comics Colossus. She has the ability to transform her body into an organic metal substance. But unlike Colossus, who has the ability to transform his whole entire body at will, Melanin Fox, she can transform portions or her entire body into that lead based substance. Her body produces large amounts of lead, and that is what is used to feed her twin pistols. So just a fun fact about the character. She's definitely a force to be reckoned with, and definitely somebody that you don't want to cross. Again, just still trying to be loose with the pen. Making sure that we get all of our shapes blocked in, just as we were doing with the sketch. And I know some of you all may say, well, I've added additional steps, but again, whatever works for you, make it work for you. And I know this is probably will add additional time to the final product, but this is my system. Rough sketch, getting the gesture down, followed by additional line work. Then I'll follow up with the blue outline or red, and then I'll go into my inks, or rather my line work, and then I'll apply my inks and shades. So it all works in conjunction with one another. But as you can see, we just getting the lines as crispy as we can. not being too fixated on one area. So again, you may see a lot of artists out there. They may be working on you know a head, and then all of a sudden they start working on legs. It's just something that we do. We constantly jump around, and everything that I'm doing right now is off of the default um, G pen that's in the software. So nothing spectacular, no spectacular brushes or anything like that. Just the default brushes and tools that is offered in the software. Great. So I think things are starting to take shape. I'm pretty satisfied with everything that's going on. It's not too bad for a guy who's taken almost 20 years off of producing any kind of art. In my adult life, life kind of took over, and I just stopped drawing altogether. And then just one day, I picked up the pencil and pen and just started getting after it. And um, it feels good to be back into your happy place. So still a lot to learn. Taking every opportunity that you have when you're producing art to get better. Always try to get better, and always research and look upon those individuals who are um, great artists in their own right, and start pulling different things from them and start applying it to your art. It's only gonna make you better in the long run. So all right, so we're getting kind of close here. Moving right along, she's looking pretty good. Let's do some cleanup. And the eyes would tell it all. All right, so one of my favorite tools in Clip Studio Paint is the lasso fill tool. This gives you the ability to just quickly um, get your colors in, as you can see. And this really makes things move a lot faster. It all happens in one swoop that I can quickly put in my shadows. Definitely not like the old days of using Photoshop, but this just comes to show how powerful this program is, and more people are starting to use it. Yeah, I know it may seem like I'm moving fairly quickly, and you're probably not able to see um, some of the tools that I'm clicking. But again, just right now, I'm just using the lasso fill tool. If you have any questions uh, about any of the tools or some of the methods that I'm using, just feel free to leave a comment below. Ask the question, and I will definitely work to get you an answer. All right, we're not going to apply a lot of detail. We're going to leave that to our color. And the colors that we're using should make this thing pop that much more. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time, applying large amounts of ink. Just a couple of shades here and there. We'll get it in. Boom, Boom, you see how quickly that lasso fill tool is? That is my best friend, and it will be yours as well. Just get it in. And it can give you some pretty good forms as well as you're moving along in your process. All right, so she's looking pretty good. All right. And so it begins. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply a basic background color, neutral color, to the image. And I like to do this because, you know, sometimes when you're looking at your computer and you just glancing at that white screen. All right, this is by adding a background color to it, it's just gonna make it much easier on your eyes, because by this time you've already, you know, spent, you know, an hour or so staring at a computer and just drawing on a white screen. So we're gonna get our base colors in, and what we're going to do now is I'm going to start separating my image, and we're going to get our initial flats. And what I mean by flats, all right, this is going to make the selection process a lot easier. So when we start drawing, it's going to make that, well, excuse me, when we start coloring, it's going to make the process that much faster. So we start with a base flat color for the entire image, and then I'll start breaking it down by layers and separating the skin tones from the shirt, from the actual jacket itself, and the jeans, the boots will all be on separate layers, and then I'll work from there. So as you can see, since I did a base flat layer and everything is clipped to that layer, it keeps all of my selections within the lines. So sometimes when you take your time and you just, you know, work your process, you know, in the end, it makes things a lot faster, believe me. When you take the time to prep your image, stay true to yourself in terms of, you know, how you work, it makes things a lot easier. So giving her metal arm, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to give half her body is going to be metal, and the other half is going to be her flesh form. Again, if you're new to the channel, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification as well, so whenever I have new content coming out, you'll be one of the first to know. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get our shirt colored up here. All right, that's gonna be on its own separate layer along with the gloves. So want to make sure that everything is colored together. That way I can control the image a lot more when everything is separated, as opposed to if I had everything on one layer, it's going to make things that much difficult. I'm trying to, you know, make modifications to the hue saturation, or if I want to change the color, and it just doesn't look good. So just bear with me. This can be a very tedious process, but again, you want to make sure that it's done right. I tell you, this is probably the most peace and quiet that I've ever had when I'm trying to do a video. Typically, when I'm trying to do some recording, I got the kids ripping and running up and down the stairway in the house, and you know, this house has an echo to it, so you hear everything. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me this long. You know, if you hear the rumblings of cereal boxes or anything opening up, you know, it's the kids. They are roaming the streets. So if you are a fellow YouTuber and you have kids that constantly interrupt you while you're trying to create your videos, leave a comment below. I like to hear about it. Another fun fact about Melanin Fox that you probably don't know, but she also suffers from a skin disorder called vitiligo. So you'll see as I'm going to further color the skin, you'll see the different pigmentations in her skin. So just a fun fact. And please excuse the lawnmower in the background. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to add a light source to the image. This is where it gets a little fun because you get to play with a lot of colors. And this is one of the benefits of separating your image and putting everything on its own layer. It gives you this much more freedom to be able to experiment with some of the different hue saturations within the program. Okay, so I think we're getting close. Things are starting to come together. I think I've talked enough for this video. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to play a little bit of feel-good music to bring us home. Okay, see you guys at the very end. DJ, drop that beat.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Loaded.
Yeah. What? Yeah. 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 What? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay guys, we're gonna put a few more highlights on the image and get ready to close this thing out. Had a lot of fun with this. There's so many other things that I can do with the image as well, but this gives me a pretty good baseline if I want to go back in and make some changes to the final product. But you know, this is my process, and I hope you guys were able to learn something new here today. And I look forward to bringing you guys more and more content in the very near future. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Until next time, be sure to like, subscribe, and join the Exit 160 movement. Peace.